And now FIFA's ad hoc electoral committee has formally admitted 5 candidates to stand for the presidency of soccer's global governing body at an election on February 26. It comes with FIFA still reeling from a massive corruption scandal. Here's more.
World football's governing body, FIFA, formally announced the 5 official candidates for its next president, who will be elected February 26. The candidates include Jérôme Champagne, a former French diplomat who, as director of international relations at FIFA, has experience dealing with difficult political issues, including the relationship between the Israeli and Palestinian football associations, as well as Kosovo's quest for FIFA recognition. Champagne worked closely for 11 years with suspended FIFA president Sepp Blatter, which could hurt the Frenchman's candidacy in some sectors and help him in others.
I know exactly what needs to be changed, and that's his experience that I will provide.
Other candidates include Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa, the current head of the Asian Football Confederation and a member of Bahrain's royal family. He has overseen progress in Asian football, but has also been accused of ignoring corruption in his organization. Al Khalifa has been tied to the violent crackdown against anti-regime protesters in Manama. Prince Ali bin Al Hussein is a former FIFA vice president and a son of Jordanian King Abdullah. He has promised transparency and championed the fight against corruption, but he is only 40 and relatively inexperienced.
I've been traveling a lot and visiting national associations around the world, and they are very concerned about the reputation of the organization.
Gianni Infantino is the current UEFA General Secretary, having overseen a period of sustained commercial success for the European football body. Infantino has some radical ideas, including expanding the World Cup to include more participants.
It's not about making deals or making agreements, it's about respecting everyone, about speaking with everyone.
Finally, South African businessman Tokyo Sexwell is a former government minister and anti-apartheid activist who spent 13 years in prison alongside Nelson Mandela. Known as a charismatic figure in both business and political circles, he also counts Sepp Blatter among his friends. Whoever ends up winning the election will have their job cut out for them in reforming an organization which has come to be associated equally with corruption as with football.
And now for more on that story, I'm joined by Jonathan Regev, host of the I-24 News Sports Magazine. Good evening, Jonathan.
Evening, Ayman.
Is it a good evening for FIFA? Because not a lot is known about these 5 candidates, is it?
I'll tell you what. First, it is good that FIFA will hold these elections exactly in a month and someone else will come in, because obviously I wanted to say the old establishment has to go, but all these 5 candidates, they're all part of the establishment. Jérôme Champagne, Prince Ali, Tokyo Sexwell, they're all members of the FIFA establishment. Does that mean they're as corrupt as Sepp Blatter? No, of course not.
I only hope not.
Allegedly, we have to say, because again, nothing has been proved. We have to say that again and again. But all these people come from the establishment. The same establishment that, for example, chose Qatar as the host of the 2022 World Cup. So again, we do not know much about what they will do, where they will lead FIFA. We do know that FIFA desperately needs some change, because the things that have been going on there, it does not look good, even if no one can prove something. And one thing I can say, which I've said here before, Sepp Blatter has been heading FIFA for 17 years. The man before him, João Avelange from Brazil, did that for 24 years. That is way, way too much. If an American president can be only 2 terms in the White House, so can the man leading FIFA. That's what I think.
And any clear favorites at this point, Jonathan, or is that hard to tell as well?
Very hard to tell. I would say Prince Ali perhaps a little bit, but the only reason I'm saying this is because he was the only candidate who ran against Sepp Blatter back in May, and he did win a few votes back then. But then again, it's very hard to point at a clear favorite. Perhaps Infantino, the man coming from UEFA, who may have the votes of the European members, and we have heard some other continental confederations supporting him. But I think it's very, very difficult to point at this moment of any clear favorite. It's an open race. There's no clear, if there were any perhaps ex-footballer, big names such as Luis Figo, who was contemplating about running a few weeks ago, maybe we could point at him. Now they all seem pretty much tight, at least at this stage. Prince Ali and Infantino, I would say slight favorites, but then again, any result can happen here.
And how confident is FIFA, Jonathan, that a new president out of these 5 might really salvage the image of the organization?
They have no choice. The image is really at its lowest. It's been going down and down and down for years until this major blow up that came in the past few months. I think the real shake began when FIFA chose Qatar as the host for the 2022 World Cup. It's a point that comes up again and again and again. Every other choice FIFA made, there are always you could always say, well, something is wrong here, something is wrong there. Qatar seems to be the place where just there's no way to justify it. You can justify a World Cup in Germany as was in 2006, even though there are allegations about corruption. Same could be said for South Africa, Brazil, Russia in 2018. Qatar, just you cannot justify. Hopefully, whoever comes in will make things look a little better, because under Sepp Blatter, at least in his later years, it just looks terrible.
Well, Jonathan Regev, you are the least corrupt thing that I know that has to do with FIFA talking about it here.
Allegedly.
Jonathan Regev, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ayman.